somebody scrolls past a wedding, a new house, a promotion that wasn't theirs, and something twists in their stomach. Small, fast, gone in a second, maybe. Or maybe it sits there all afternoon like a stone in a shoe. Envy doesn't announce itself. It just arrives uninvited and starts narrating. She has more than you. He is doing better than you. Why does it always go to them? Most people never even call it envy. They call it something softer. Ambition, maybe. Or motivation. Seeing his success just pushes me to work harder, they say. And sometimes that's even true. But underneath, if you're honest, there's usually a quieter voice doing the actual talking. And it isn't cheering anyone on. It's keeping score. Counting what it doesn't have. Here's the strange part. The man who wrote the sharpest cure for that feeling never owned a house. Never had a wedding people envied. He was born a slave in Hierapolis, and by most accounts his leg was broken by his own master. Some say deliberately, some say by accident during a beating. The details are murky. 20 centuries later. What isn't murky is this. Epictetus ended up freer in his own head than most emperors ever were. And he had opinions, blunt ones, about why the rest of us stay chained to a feeling as small and as corrosive as envy. 3 rules, straight from his students' notes, the Enchiridion and the Discourses. Let's get into what he actually said, because it's sharper than most modern advice on this. Here's the problem. Underneath the problem. Envy convinces you of a very specific lie. That someone else's stuff, their status, their applause, their whatever, makes them better than you. Not luckier. Not richer. Which would at least be accurate, better, as a person. And once that idea gets in, it's almost impossible to argue your way back out of it with willpower alone, because willpower isn't really the issue. The logic is broken, and you can't fix broken logic by trying harder to feel differently. Nobody really tells you that part. Self-help culture says, focus on gratitude, stop comparing yourself, which, sure, fine, but it treats envy like a mood to manage, rather than what Epictetus thought it actually was. A mistake, a reasoning error, something you got wrong in your head. The same way you'd get a math problem wrong. And mistakes, unlike moods, can actually be corrected. That's the whole shift he's asking for. And here's the part that quietly makes it worse. Envy usually shows up dressed as something you're not allowed to admit you feel. Nobody posts about it. Nobody says out loud, "Your good news made me feel smaller today." So it festers in private, unexamined, doing damage precisely because it's never dragged out into daylight and looked at properly. Epictetus, to his credit, doesn't let you hide from it. He drags it out immediately. Rule 1 then. Catch the fallacy in the act. Epictetus laid it out almost like a logic teacher correcting a student's homework. In the Enchiridion, he wrote, and this is worth hearing slowly. These reasonings are unconnected. I am richer than you, therefore I am better. I am more eloquent than you, therefore I am better. The connection is rather this. I am richer than you. Therefore, my property is greater than yours. I am more eloquent than you. Therefore, my style is better than yours. Read that twice if you have to. Richer does not connect to better. It connects honestly to nothing more than richer. Your neighbor's new car proves he has a new car. That's it. That's the whole entailment. It doesn't prove anything about his character, his happiness, his worth, or yours. Somewhere between the observation And the conclusion. We sneak in an extra step that was never actually there. And that sneaky extra step is where every ounce of envy is manufactured. Cut the step out. And weirdly, there's nothing left to be envious about. Just two facts sitting next to each other, neither one insulting the other. Try it on whatever's bothering you right now. Someone posted the vacation photos, the ring, the acceptance letter. Fine, write down the actual fact. They went on a trip. They got engaged. They got in. Now look for the invisible next line your brain wants to add automatically. Da, and that means I'm behind part. That part isn't a fact. It's an editorial you inserted for free, and you are allowed to delete it. Rule 2. Relocate where you keep the good stuff. This is, I think, the actual engine room of the whole philosophy. And Epictetus doesn't bury it. If the essence of good consists in things in our own control, there will be no room for envy or emulation, he wrote in the Enchiridion. Notice what that sentence is doing. It's not telling you to feel less envious. It's redefining where good even lives. If good means money, looks, followers, your partner's promotion, external stuff that can be handed to one person and denied to another, then yes, envy is basically guaranteed forever because someone will always have more of it than you. But if the good is something like your own judgment, your integrity, how you choose to respond to what happens to you, well, nobody can out-earn you at that. Nobody can out-inherit your character. There's no leaderboard for it. You can't lose a competition that was never a competition to begin with. Move the good inward, and envy just runs up through wazzle fuel. Not because you tried to suppress it, because the thing it needed to attach to isn't there anymore. Rule 3, and this one stings a little, honestly. Use envy as a gut check on whether you're actually practicing what you claim to believe. Epictetus was not gentle with his own students on this. In the Discourses, he snaps at them. But if you show envy, wretched man, and pity, and jealousy, and timidity, and never let a day pass without bewailing yourself in the gods, how can you continue to say that you have been educated? Ouch, but fair. His point is that envy isn't a random weather pattern that hits good and bad people equally. It's diagnostic. It tells you pretty precisely what field you've been quietly studying, even if you never admit it out loud. And in another passage, he names that field directly. This is the field of study, which introduces to us confusions, tumults, misfortunes, and calamities, and sorrows, lamentations, envies, and renders us envious and jealous. From Book 3 of the Discourses. The field, he means, is chasing externals, reputation, possessions, comparison, instead of studying your own judgments, your own choices. The only classroom that was ever really yours to begin with. So when envy shows up, don't just feel bad about feeling bad. Ask what it's telling on you. It usually means some part of you has quietly enrolled in the wrong class again. 3 rules then, and honestly, they build on each other more than they look like they do at first. Catch the broken logic. Richer doesn't mean better. It just means richer. Relocate the good into what's actually yours, your judgments, your choices. The one territory nobody can outcompete you in. And when envy does flare up anyway, because it will treat it like a diagnostic light on a dashboard, rather than a character flaw too high. It's telling you where your attention has wandered. Nothing more damning than that. I don't think Epictetus expected any of us to stop feeling the twinge entirely. He was a realist about human nature, in a way people forget. But a former slave figured out how to be freer than his own master ever was, using exactly these 3 moves. Might be worth testing the next time somebody's good news makes something in your chest go tight. If this shifted something for you, subscribe to Stoic Mind. We go through a philosopher's actual notebooks every week, not just quotes ripped out of context. Drop a comment with which of the 3 rules hit hardest, because I'm genuinely curious which one people need most. There's a lot more of Epictetus we haven't even touched yet. Until next time, stay steadfast,